G'day guys, Duckville here. We're going to watch a game from the EU server. This is going to be between one of the more famous Protoss players, who in fact one of the greater players who has made the switch from Warcraft 3 across to StarCraft 2. Over here on the left hand side of Antigua Shipyard, we are on the latter version, just by the way. It is Grubby, of course. He's not on a specific team just as of yet, but he's on his own little team there, which is always a lot of fun. He's going to be starting out here. His opponent is going to be on the bottom right hand side, a Zerg player over in the blue. His name is FLwibang. So we're going to see what these guys are going to get up to here. Of course, this is some Grandmaster action here, and we'll find out what Grubby can get up to. Of course, he's, as I said, one of the really good Protoss players. He's initially perhaps caught a little bit of flack because he was not really proving himself after the switch from Warcraft 3 to StarCraft 2, but he's lately been doing such a fantastic job. Some of his builds are just absolutely superb, and of course he's been starting to really claw up the ranks as well, and doing really good in some of the various tournaments that have been going around. So we'll find out what he's up to here. And oh, just while we're on the topic of new cool things, I am going to start very soon. If you've had a look at my blog, duckvillelol.com, going to be starting a new little series of casts. It's going to be looking at the more unknown players, sort of the people perhaps even like FLwibang over here, who is in Grandmasters, isn't really on a high level team or anything like that, but is still a fantastic player. It's going to be called Burrowed Banelings. We're going to be starting that out very soon. However, I am looking for some help with a flash, like a little flash intro, also with some graphical assistance. I may have someone already who's able to help with the graphical assistance, but we'll see what happens. Either way, if you want to help out, give me a bell, and just let me know on Twitter or on Facebook or whatever. Just find some particular way to contact me, and we'll hit up some fun, and you know, get something going, and you can help out with the show. We'll give you some, you know, give you a shout out on Twitter, all that sort of random stuff. And wow, look, great job by Grubby to keep that probe alive and actually take down the drone before the Nexus went down. Good stuff there. Yeah, so let me know if you want to help out with that, and I'd be really happy to have some assistance, because I am absolutely terrible with making graphics and all that sort of creative stuff, because apparently I have like no creative bones in my body at all. So, but we'll get to that very soon. If you want to learn more about that, jump on the blog, and I've made a recent blog post just the other day about it, so you'll find out more there. Anyway, in this game we've got a Forge Fast Expand here from Grubby. He's got the cannon up now as well, the gateway just under halfway done. Probably going to get that Cybernetics core to fill up the gap here, which is a very nice wall off. It limits the surface area on the cannon, leaves a little gap open for a Zealot to get through, and in fact, wow, FLwibang is perhaps losing some concentration here. He actually lets his Overlord get in range of the cannon, but he does get some vision there just to see what's going on, and he has done a fast expand to the third. So he's really going to be kicking up that economy there. Probably one of the better responses in my book to a Protoss fast expand is if you do take a quick third. And of course, on a map like this, Antigua Shipyard is just absolutely easy peasy for grabbing a third base, and FLwibang just taking that very simply. Got to make sure that you are aware of where those probes are. Of course, as we can see here, FLwibang very intelligently has a Zergling just stationed on the ramp, just to make sure that no probes can get up and get any cannon shenanigans behind the ramp, behind the minerals there. You don't want any of that going on, because that can absolutely ruin your day. Meanwhile, Grubby at his side of the map, powering away at those probes, got the chrono boost going down. We've got 2 gas in the main, nothing at the natural just as of yet, but he is putting down some more chrono on the Cybernetics core and also the gateway. So he may be sending out a couple of Zealots here. He's starting up that +1 to weapons as well, so we could perhaps see a little push out with a couple of Zealots. Here they go. They're just going to clean up the little Zergling that was stationed out the front of the natural expansion there. Going to try and head across. He should be able to get there before too much defense is raised by FLwibang. He's got 6 Zerglings on the way. He has no speed just as of yet. Still only just collecting that gas. Now he's up to 50 gas or so, so he's still a little little while away from speed. But Grubby trying to put some pressure on. He's going to find a Zergling just out the front of that natural, and then comes across and is going to be able to find out that that hatchery is there. And in fact, a couple of Lings trying to get by, but they won't get too far. The Zealot's trying to deal with them pretty quickly, but not getting too much done. And now Grubby can go to town on this hatchery. Now, it's obviously a matter of how far he wants to push with that, because if he sits there and lets the Zerglings come in and surround, he's going to be in a lot of trouble, and in fact, that's exactly what's going to happen. Pushing himself up against the wall to limit the surface area, get to the back of the Zealots, the best way to do that. As you can see, these Zealots making light work of a lot of these Lings, and almost getting 5 kills each. That is quite a lot there. That's a really good start to the game there for Grubby. He's limited the drone production. Of course, as we can see, FLwibang is still far ahead on 41. I suppose not far ahead, but he's still doing nicely on 41, but he did have to limit that. It could be a lot higher, could be up near the 50s if he wasn't under that pressure. Now, Grubby is just poking around the map with a probe over here. Got a pylon just off to the side. It's actually just out of range of that Overlord. If you move that across just a slight amount, he'll be able to see that pylon, and any sort of proxy play might be disrupted. But as we said, looks as if, yeah, there's going to be a couple more gates. We've got a Stargate and a Robo facility coming along here from Grubby. He's I've seen previously, done some casts of Grubby, in fact, live during the Docks Cup, where he was actually using a really nice Stargate opening, and it looks as if this could be the same sort of thing. We'll see if a couple of Phoenix come out, and then what you do is you then can switch into a really nice Colossus timing. I don't think he's going to do that. What he is going to do is pressure with these +1 Zealots. They are going to be able to tear up some of these Lings, and in fact he will grab a couple of them before they can get into a big formation, and here go the Lings trying to get some damage done. They will be able to take out the Zealots pretty easily there, but the Zealots get a decent amount of damage, and even more are now coming through as well. The Void Ray is going to be also able to help out with the attacks on that third base. We'll see what Grubby's going to do. Probably the best idea for him at the moment would be to send the Zealots in, try and snap down that Spore Crawler if he can, and if he can get that, then he can send the Void Ray in to deal with the rest of the units here. There's only a Queen as the only other anti-air, so find out what's going on. It looks as if Grubby was able to get some vision on the high ground with that Void Ray. A couple of Zealots inside are going to be able to take down a Queen. An Evolution Chamber, if he can snipe that, that'd be actually quite nice, because it looks as if +1 to melee weapons is on the way, and he should be able to get it. Looks as if it is going to go down before that is done. Meanwhile, in the natural, the Void Rays come across, going to get charged up on that extractor. The Zealots just busting in the mineral line here. Going to go down pretty quickly because there are quite a lot of Lings, but they have taken down some drones in the process. The Evo Chamber, meanwhile, has gone down. We'll see if Grubby is going to send across the Zealots to get some more vision at the top of the cliff there, but he's not going to, and that will be the end of that pressure just for the time being. The Void Ray still roaming around, being quite menacing, and Observer also able to spot that high ground. Didn't actually notice that before, but Grubby now sitting quite nice and pretty. We've got 4 sentries up and running here. He's got Phoenix now coming out. There are going to be a few Phoenix to help out with this Void Ray. Should be able to put some pressure on the Queens. It looks as if a couple of Spine Crawlers have moved into the main to make sure that he can defend against these warp-in attacks, and here come the Zealots. They're not going to get too far. The 2 Spine Crawlers should be able to defend that quite easily, but he is forcing quite a lot of Lings. We've got Lings out the top of the main here, and then Lings also down the back as well. There he's forcing so many Lings here from FLwibang, and this is just a brilliant strategy for the start of the game, especially when your opponent has done a double expand like that. He's going to be able to cruise around, maybe able to take out this Queen. Should definitely be able to take it out with those 2 Void Rays there. The Phoenix able to lift her up and then get the party started. A couple of Spore Crawlers trying to go up here from FLwibang. He may be able to get them up in time to defend, but it looks as if the Queens are going to come across, and they should be able to help out with the defense. But the Void Rays charged up, do so much damage. Look at that Spine Crawler, almost dead. Queen's going to go down here, no doubt about that. She did have quite a bit of energy available, and now the 2 other Queens are in jeopardy. But moving back towards that Spore Crawler, I don't think this is the best idea for Grubby. He's going to micro back one of those Void Rays. Good work there to bring that back, and then he will retreat. It looks as if saving almost all of those units. That is absolutely fantastic work from there. And behind all of this, he's gotten a 3rd base up. We've got a couple of cannons for some defense. Going to transfer some probes through, and he's going to be sitting in a beautiful spot at the start of this game. So we'll see how he's going to transition from here. This is kind of that stage where a Protoss will need to think about perhaps looking at some other methods of attacking. Looks as if, as we said, FLwibang is gone. He's gone absolutely Spore Crawler mad here. He's got 4 out inside the main. We've got 1, I think it's just 1 here, yeah, at the natural, and then 1 also at the third base. But he's going to be in a little bit of a better position now. The infestors have started to pop out. They do have pathogen glands, so they'll start out with a fungal growth available, and a macro hatch is also going to get started as well. So FLwibang trying to get back to where he was before. We've got a double evo down the bottom here, a Roach Warren as well. Really late on that Roach Warren. He's just had so much trouble dealing with those Void Rays and the rest of the attacks that were coming through that he's had to delay that Roach Warren by quite a lot. But Grubby, meanwhile, is taking up, getting +2 to weapons for those ground units, and then grabbing a couple more gates inside the main. Interesting to see that there's actually like no tech and almost no buildings inside the main. He's got everything down here at the natural. It's nicely walled off, of course, with the 2 cannons at the front to protect. And then he's got Templar Archives. We've got the Twilight Council as well. Researching Blink, going to be able to get those Stalkers into the mix and really help out with pressuring against any sorts of air units that may come along from FLwibang, or perhaps even dealing with those roaches. But I think he's going to keep up this air production perhaps for the moment. He does have the 2 Void Rays. He could switch a little bit further, but no, he does have an Immortal. So we've probably seen the end of that of the air production for the time being. As Zealot just scoping out this expansion, going to see if he can get that up. Probe coming along to help out. Going to get started with a Nexus in just a moment here. That will put Grubby on 4 bases to the 3, almost, well, probably 4 at the same time they get up. So it's going to be looking very, very interesting for FLwibang here to see how he can deal with this this very good economy from Grubby. So he's got a lot of Lings out. We got some Infestors, as we said. They've got a lot of energy, and that's really about it here for FLwibang. He's not really worrying too much about getting out those units. Of course, a lot about playing Zerg is making sure that you're prepared when your opponent is actually coming for you, as opposed to just sitting out with a big group of units. Like a Protoss can sit here and just be maxed out for a while before they'll actually move out, whereas a Zerg may just sort of sit back just for a little bit longer and actually decide on exactly what tech they're going to need to counter. So he's really going high on those Infestors there. We've got 2 more in production, a couple more just popping out now, some more Roaches also on the way. Have we got, whoa, a carrier on the way from Grubby. Alright, this is going to get very interesting here. This is kind of the hard part of casting when you get to things like this that you don't see very often. In fact, that's an interesting pylon wall. Don't see that very often. But Grubby going to be taking up to these to the carriers here. We've got an extra 2 Stargates on the way, going to be helping out with that production. Carriers against Zerg are actually, they're decent. It sort of depends what you're facing. As we can see, Grubby's going to have to deal with a big attack that's just about to come through the main choke point here. Looks as if, here we go, it's battle time. We've got Storms. They're probably going to go off here for Grubby, and he does get a couple of feedbacks off, and then some more Storms. We've got Void Rays off to the side, dealing with some of these units here, and Storms all over these Infested Terrans, going to take them down quite easily. The Infestor's not actually being that useful in that battle, so he's not going to be able to push through this just for the moment here. The Storms providing a great amount of defense, and it looks as if FLwibang is just going to prepare for future, taking down the rocks there just to make sure that he can push in if need be. Now, Grubby is he's at that weird spot for Protoss where you need to grab some of these carriers if you are going to go for them. Like, he can grab another 3 if he can save up a little bit of money, but the problem is how much time it takes to get them up. But here we go. It looks as if FLwibang is going to push through into the 4th base of Grubby, dropping in some Infested Terrans down the back, throwing them over the net. Those beach balls will hatch in just a second, and here they go. The Infested Terrans going to town on those leftover units. He's actually trying to target down these cannons pretty quickly, but the Roaches are also doing quite a lot of damage, targeting that Nexus. He should be able to get that before Grubby comes to the rescue here. He's trying to come across with these with his main force of units, but the Nexus is down. The Infestors are attempting to retreat, and we'll see if Grubby is going to be able to take them out. He will grab a couple of them with the Phoenix gravitational beam thingamy-bob, whatever you call it, graviton beam, that's the one. And then the carrier is revealed. It's very interesting to see how FLwibang is going to respond to this. Of course, you can get Hydras can deal with them, but you need a lot of creep out on the map. There is nowhere near enough creep to actually let Hydras do what they need to do. You can use Corruptors, of course. Some Corruptors with their corruption skill are really nice to use against the carriers, but you do need a decent number, especially when the carriers are backed up by quite a lot of Stalkers. So we'll see how FLwibang is going to deal with this, and Grubby is doing some more harassment across. He did have a proxy pylon over here at the attempted 5th base of FLwibang, and is now going to perhaps push in through the middle here. There are a lot of Lings on the ground. There's not too much AoE damage here, apart from that one Templar which just used a Storm in the most crazy position ever. There we go, there's a couple more Storms, and the Lings have actually chewed through quite a lot of these Stalkers here. The carrier is left in the sky, but there's not actually a whole heap that can go against it on the ground from FLwibang here. He should be able to finish up this attack. He does clean up everything on the ground. The Roaches and the Lings are going to have to retreat, because there is no way that they're going to be able to hit that carrier, not to mention the few Void Rays that are still around as well, and more carriers are going to be joining the battle as well. So Grubby is starting to get into that position where the carriers, if they get too much further, he's going to be in a lot of trouble. FLwibang is going to be in a lot of trouble. The Graviton Catapult is done. Where is that? Have we got any extra weapons? Yeah, we do have +1 to weapons done for the carriers, so they'll be doing a little bit of extra damage there. Also, do note that shields level 1 is on the way before the ground level 2 is coming through. This is obviously, it is actually slightly more efficient, I believe, if you get shields before you get armor, just in general. But then also, if you are, of course, getting carriers and your air units and that sort of thing, and you're going to be focusing on air, shields is a great upgrade to have, because it just increases that durability of the carriers, of the mothership that's here, and all of those units that will follow suit very soon. So I really like this transition from Grubby here, especially with that with the upgrades there. He's probably going to grab +2 to shields very soon. The one problem you do have as a Protoss is trying to actually deal with the gas. Look at this defense that he's got. A lot of Templar there with their Storm available, plus building these carriers as well. They take a whole heap of gas to build. I've just got to try and remember how much it is. 250 gas to build, so it's quite a lot to get them out of the map, and you do need to try and keep them alive as much as you can, because if they start to fall down, as we mentioned, the long build time for them, and then of course the big cost makes them really inefficient if you're going to go ahead and lose any of those. So here we go. It looks as if FLwibang is going to attempt to try and attack into this base here. Grubby just scouting out with a couple of Phoenix, may be able to pick up some of the Infestors perhaps. No, he's not going to be able to. The Infestors are in submarine mode, grabbing some of those Lings inside the Vortex. Perhaps not the best use of the Vortex, but I don't think it's going to matter too much, because there is no way that FLwibang is going to be able to attack into this. And here we go with the flush mechanic. Bang, the Lings pop out. Carriers should be able to deal with those quite easily, not to mention those Zealots on the ground as well. And the Templar are coming up to help out with this battle. So things are going to get very, very messy for FLwibang unless he pulls out a good counter to those carriers. He's only just started his Spire. I think that is perhaps a symbol that this game is not going to go well for FLwibang. It is only just started, and it's not even a double Spire. You could perhaps make the argument that a double Spire would be really nice to get those extra upgrades for the Corruptors to deal with the carriers, but he doesn't even have that. Now, Infestors are the other option that you can use. Neural Parasite can be interesting in terms of using it for either A, infesting the carriers, taking them over and trying to deal as much damage as you can, or perhaps even taking the mothership and putting down a Vortex on the carriers while you try and clean up the rest of the units on the ground. Now, obviously the problem with that, of course, one of the recent patches reduced the range on Neural Parasites, so they can't actually use that, and it looks as if, wow, FLwibang's decided the Banelings are a good counter to these carriers, so not actually sure what's going on there. We've got 40 Banelings that are just about to pop up. They don't have speed just yet. They do have, what have they got? They've got +2 to their ground weapons, and of course +2 to Carapace as well, so they will survive a little bit longer, and of course deal with these Zealots quite easily. But it looks as if the Zealots are already having their own fun. They're going to take care of the Baneling nest perhaps before it completes on Baneling speed. That could be a very interesting part of this game, but no, it does take them out just before it is all done. And the Zealots now taking out this 4th base as well. They're going to try and retreat, but not going to get too far. There is way too much for them to deal with. And now look at all of these Banelings here. They are going to get speed in just a minute. They're going to start rolling like Limp Bizkit. And then we'll see if there is going to be any way for FLwibang to try and get back into this. I really don't think, especially if he's not going to be starting out those upgrades, that he's going to be able to get too far. +2 to the air weapons just completing there for Grubby. He's able to get +3 3 if he needs to, but the carriers now moving forward. We've got 9 plus a mothership plus 5 Archons on the ground. The Archons obviously to deal with the mass amounts of Lings on the ground. The Templar here able to put some storms down as well and get feedbacks off on those Infestors, and here we go. Storms going up. We've got the Vortex in the middle there, and there it is, the button for the UI, and we're going to see Vortex go off. He's going to take care of the rest of these Infestors. No Neural Parasites take over that mothership and use the other Vortex, and the carriers sitting back are now moving inside. Now that the Infestors are gone, the Hydras have just popped out and have been stormed all over the place, and absolutely magnificent stuff here from Grubby. He's going to absolutely clean through the rest of FLwibang here, and there he goes, tapping out, and that is going to be the end of FLwibang. So great stuff there from Grubby. I like the transition. He kept a good map presence with his gateway forces at the initial part of the game. Kept those air units up as well. We saw a lot of damage being done inside the main and at the natural. We saw I believe it was 2 queens were taken out. There were of course a few Ling kills on the ground as well, and just forced FLwibang into a little bit of a sort of on the back foot there, having to create a lot of Lings at the start of the game, which slowed him down just a bit. And then Grubby moving into carries at the mid stage of the game. Very daring play there, but he had 5 bases and he looked very good to go from there. So hope you guys enjoyed that match. It was a lot of fun, and as I said, if you want to help out with the new upcoming casting series, let me know, and I'll be sure to hit you up for some help. Thanks guys, cheers.